Hello students, in this session we will be learning about life processes. So what do you mean by this life processes? The word itself tells, right? So it's life processes. There are some processes that is happening in the life, and life is all about living organisms, right? So life processes happens in living organisms. And before we see what are these life processes, first let us try differentiating between what is living and what is non-living. So if I ask you and show you some element or some organism in front of you, something in front of you, how will you differentiate? How will you tell me whether it's living or non-living? So I'll ask you, is this marker living? So you will easily say that it is non-living, right? How do you say this? On what basis are you trying to tell me that this marker is a non-living organism? So for that we will have to see some differences, right? So the first and basic difference about a living organism and non-living organism is movement. So whether an organism shows movement, right? So if they are moving, we consider it as living. If it is not moving, then we will consider it as non-living. Other than that, you have reproduction. So is this marker able to reproduce? Reproduction is whether it is able to produce an organism of its own kind. No, it's not able to reproduce. So therefore it is non-living. And the next point what we have is sensitivity, or whether it is sensitive. Is it responding for the environmental changes? If you pinch or if you make this marker fall on the ground, is it experiencing some pain or something like that? No. So therefore it is a non-living organism. And other than that, we have the process of nutrition. Any living organism to survive, they will need some energy. Okay, so that energy is derived by the process of nutrition. Nutrition is basically consumed in the form of food. So we people consume food, so we are living. Whereas this marker will not consume food, so therefore we will say it is non-living. And then the process of excretion. Excretion is nothing but throwing out the waste. So in our body there is some processes and some metabolism that's happening, and the waste will be thrown out. So that metabolism will give out some waste. So that is thrown out by the process of excretion. So whether an organism is showing excretion or not. And the most important point is growth. Whether an organism is able to grow. So if I keep this marker for a long time, do you see increase in height and weight of this? No, it's not seen, right? So therefore, this is a non-living organism. And the next point what you can talk about is the respiration. See, respiration is also one of the very important characteristic that a living organism should show. So all the organisms take in oxygen in order to break down the food and produce energy. So if they are not able to respire, then that is also one of the characteristic of a non-living organism. So basically we differentiate living and non-living organism based on these following points. We tried telling the basic differences. Now what I want you to do is, I want you to make a tabular column in your notebook. So write living organism, draw one line in between, and then non-living organism. And using these points, I want you to frame the differences between living and non-living organisms. Example, living organisms show movement, non-living organisms do not move. They show growth, they do not show growth. Like that I want you to write it and maintain it like a notes. So now we will see actual definition of life processes. How are we defining the word life processes? Life processes are nothing but the basic vital processes. In the sense, what do you understand by the word basic? Basic means which is a basic requirement and without which we will not be able to survive. So it is basic. Vital means it is important for the body. So life processes is a basic vital requirement or essential processes that is happening within ourselves. So these life processes will help us to survive, right? So they will help us to survive, and they will do the proper functioning. They will ensure that each and every organs in the body are working properly, and they will help us to maintain our health also. So the definition of life processes goes like this. So they are the basic vital processes which are essential for an organism to maintain the proper functioning of the body organ systems. Okay, so this will be the definition of life processes. Now what are these life processes? How many life processes are there in our body? So we will be discussing few of them. So one such example for life processes is nutrition. That is, in our body we have the process of digestion that's happening. Similarly, we have excretion, respiration, and then you also have circulation and nervous system. Apart from this, we also have many other systems in the body, like you have endocrine system, muscular system, skeletal system. So all these systems together will be considered as the life processes. So in our syllabus, in 10th standard syllabus, we will be learning about these basic life processes. So in our next session, we will start off with the process of nutrition. So in our next session, we'll start with the topic nutrition. But before that, I want you to find out how many processes are happening in our body. Like this, I want you to find out how many different systems are there in the body and make a list of them. So if you can post it in the comments below.